Start recording. Stop recording. Button.
Good Sunday morning to everybody. I hope everybody's doing well today, this morning. Happy Super Bowl Sunday to the people who celebrate it. I don't. I'm not a sports fan. And before we get into the video, I just want to say for people who might be drinking tonight, if you are, don't drive. Stay wherever you are. Really, we don't want any accidents. So, if you know you're getting drunk tonight, just stay wherever you go. It's not worth, it's not worth driving home. Anyway, let's get right into this. So, this morning we're going to talk about relationships. And more specifically, we're going to talk about how to know when your relationship is crumbling, failing. Because hey, maybe there's someone watching this video right now or listening to this video right now who's never been in a relationship. And, hey, maybe your relationship is failing right now and you don't even know that it's failing or crumbling. But before we talk about that, we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about how to know if your relationship is going well. So first, we'll start with the positive. Okay. So there are a few ways to know. So in a good, healthy relationship, there will be consistency.
Camera chooser. Camera. Stop recording.
There will be
button.
Good communication. Your significant other will love you and spend time with you. And things will be flowing nicely. Now, one way you can tell that, or one way to know that your relationship is failing is if there isn't consistency, if there isn't communication, if your significant other is blowing you off, if your significant other is not spending time with you, that's some ways right there for you to know that your relationship is just going nowhere. And in some cases, it really is just better to, I hate to say this, but it's true. In some cases, it's just better to call it quits because you'll be happier in the long run. Because honestly, you shouldn't stay in a relationship if you're not happy or if your significant other is not paying attention to you. Meaning, the things I talked about, blowing you off, not talking to you, not being consistent, not being communicative. Hey, let's just say for shits and giggles that you're in my
Cap S.
Sierra.
Sierra.
Let's just say
Back. Stop recording.
for shits
Button.
and giggles that you're in my situation. Right? Where there's hardly any communication, no consistency, and let's just say if your significant other hasn't talked to you for 3 weeks and 6 days. That's my situation right now. I've been counting, folks. Anyway, or I should say I am counting. Anyway, the point is, if there's no communication, if there's no consistency, if you guys don't have, a good routine, and a schedule, when to talk, it's just not going to work. You got to have it's important, in my opinion, to have, especially if you guys have busy schedules. It's if you're in a good, healthy relationship with somebody, and you guys are busy, make a schedule for when you guys can talk. Pick days where, if you guys can't talk every day, pick days or nights and times where or when you guys can talk. That's one of the best things to do. If you're in a relationship and the two of you are busy, have busy schedules, so then make a schedule when you guys can talk. Set set specific days, if not every day. Set specific days or nights and times where the two of you can talk. See, now that's a healthy relationship right there. That's a healthy relationship right there. There has to be communication in a relationship. There has to be consistency in a relationship. And if there isn't, then, quite frankly, there's no point in having a relationship. There has to be those things. There has to be. So, for all you newbies who have never been in a relationship before, this is what it is. All right? This is what it is. Remember these words: consistency, communication. All right? Consistency, communication. Those are two important words to remember. If there's no consistency and if there's no communication, then there's no point in the relationship. You gotta have those things in order for a relationship to work. It's so important to have those things. It really, really is. It really, truly is. There are so many people who stay in bad relationships or toxic relationships, or even abusive relationships, because they make the excuse to say, "Oh, well, I love him," or "Oh, I love her." No, if your relationship is not, if you don't think your relationship is worth your time anymore, then get out. Find someone else. And I know it's not easy to call it quits. You know, breakups are hard, but sometimes it must be done. Now, when you break up with someone, sometimes what happens is you break up with them, you go your separate ways, and you never hear from them again. Then there are those instances where you break up with somebody, you break up with your significant other, and then years later you guys get back together. It's so funny. But sometimes breakups must be done, because if there's no communication in a relationship, and if there isn't consistency, and especially if you guys aren't talking, then there's no point in the relationship. So there you go. That's the way it goes, folks. That's the way it goes. You gotta have, you gotta have those things, in a relationship. Otherwise, it just won't work. Also, never take your relationship for granted. Cherish it. Especially if it's a good relationship. Cherish it, cherish it, cherish it. Relationships are to be cherished. So that's that. And it's just so important to to have those things, to have the consistency, to have communication, and if you don't, things aren't just, they're not going to work. The relationship's not going to work. You got to talk to each other. You got to figure things out. You got to work things out. You don't run from your problems. You work out your problems. And you don't avoid your problems. You got to work out your problems. And if you're having problems in your relationship, whatever they are, if they can be worked out, then work them out. Really? Seriously. It's really a shame how people can hurt, or how another person can hurt somebody else due to their actions. And it really isn't cool or good. So, if you're someone right now who is struggling in your relationship, and if you don't think it's worth your time anymore, then call it quits. especially, folks, especially if your significant other is not talking to you. Now, if you guys got in a big fight, or if you guys got in a fight, sure, maybe your significant other won't talk to you for maybe a few days or a week or a few weeks. But if your significant other is not talking to you for no reason, especially for 3 weeks, just using that as an example, then you might want to talk to them and say, hey, listen, we're either going to work things out here or I'm calling it quits with you. Because I'm not going to just sit here and twiddle my thumbs. Maybe not be that harsh, but you get the point. And make sure when you're talking to them that they're hearing you. And make sure you feel like you're being heard. And make sure they're listening to what you're saying to them. Because that's important. That's important, folks. All right? So, y'all take care. I'll be back to do another video with my friend Nikki this afternoon. So stay tuned for that. Hope you guys took something out of this video. I hope this video helped someone or a lot of people. Relationships are an important topic. It's just, that's the way it goes, folks. So y'all take care.